Today I will be talking about the Transformers fandom and how the fans have become fans of the franchise. Later I will be talking about what fans have argued about in the past and what they think of the franchise today. Transformers is an American franchise created by Henry Orestein, who created toys called Transformers. These toys are vehicles that turn into robots. This became popular in the 80s, and because of the popularity in the toys, Transformers are robots that can change appearance in vehicles. Many fans were collectors of the action figures. These action figures are very popular with fans. They're popular because of the originality of them, what started the franchise, so it's understandable why the fans collect the action figures, because of how much it means to the fans. The fans have never played with these action figures because of they are collectibles. So over time, companies made collectible Transformers for those who collected, and also made Transformers in which you can play with them. This was suggested by a fan who grew up and had kids that wanted to play with their action figures. The fans wanted the kids to enjoy the toys franchise as much as they did. Comics were made in the 80s. This was due to the popularity of the toys, and the toys become part of a story until 1994. At the same time, the TV show was created for fans to only multiply due to the comics and the show. The show took story originally from the comics, but then decided to make their own stories due to the amount of time the TV show carried on for compared to the comics. The TV show carried on until the 2000s. There is a lot of talk from all fans in the fandom because of how much content the Transformers put out there. Fans love to express their opinion on the content. In a survey asked by fans from different franchises, I found out that out of 26 people, majority believed that the franchise's most important thing is the story. Compared to the Transformers fanbase, they believe the characters. Due to the amount of them, the most important is developing their own franchise. The fans don't feel as if the Transformers are developed enough in the films, but developed to the right amount in the TV show and comics. Transformers films. There are now 7 Transformers films, 6 of them directed by Michael Bay. The films follow different stories to the comics and TV shows. The main focus of these films is the relationship between humans and Transformers, and Michael Bay follows this throughout the films. Due to this, that means that there are human characters that have taken most of the screen time away from the Transformers themselves. This makes the fans have a love and hate relationship with the films because they love the build up to the film and the look forward to their favourite characters. But then after fans have always said that there isn't enough of the Transformers themselves. Some fans say that they love the new characters from the films and that they have grown to enjoy them over the time of the films. A debate such as how the fans feel about the films is always popular in the fan base, and a lot of the talk on the forums. Recently, a new trailer for the new Transformers film has released, and a topic of discussion is about how there is classic characters from the comics coming back. The love that the fans show for these characters when the characters come back in a different way. The fandom are all over this trailer, giving it a thumbs up. The debate, however, over the trailer is the sudden use of these characters after some time rather than using these characters in a previous film. The reason for this debate is that the characters that loved in the comics and the action figures isn't used until it may be too late. This causes some fans to believe that the film isn't the right way for the franchise should have gone. Many disagree because of how popular the franchise has become in the general public, and due to the factor this means that the franchise has gained more fans over the films than over any other part of the franchise. These fans believe that the fact that the franchise has gained more of a following over the films any part of the franchise. Fans' discussion took place on a fan sites and talk was largely on the appearance of characters and how good it looks for the characters to go from page to screen. Some fans, however, mentioned that just because the characters look very good does not excuse the amount of use of CGI in these films and how bad it looks in the background of the films. Fans state that sometimes they can get distracted and lose focus of what's happening in the scene. For example, a battle between two characters can be taking place and there are too many explosions going on around the characters. Other fans say that this needed to be as realistic to what's going on in the scene. As you can see, there's a lot of discussion between the fans over the films has happened, and there is no telling whether the majority of the fan base enjoy the films, or is it just a majority of the fan base find that there are too many things wrong with the films, or the franchise overall. I think most of the fan base are finding little things after the films find to complain about, as they're able to pick a minor thing when it matters so much personally to them. Thank you for listening to a documentary on the fandom of the Transformers franchise.
What's up, Reactorites? I'm John. I'm here with Frank and Peter, and you guys have done iconic roles, especially for, Optimus Prime and Megatron. So, doing the movie roles, I just want to ask, if there's a difference between the animation and the films.
Animation and film. Well, going back a long time, in 1984, G1, for all you G1s, small little TV box, little cartoon in faded colors, doing more than meets the eye. Autobots transform and roll out. A little higher in tone, everything else, And then Megatron sounded like,
I am Megatron G1.
you'll never accomplish it, Megatron. Remember all that?
Yeah.
Everything was intense like this to fill that little box. And then, of course, the movie comes along, and Michael Bay said to me, he said, Peter, you're going to be 45 feet tall. So we were in an airplane hangar down in Long Beach, an airplane hangar. And they have a picture of Optimus Prime on top of a crane, so all the actors could relate to where the voice was coming from. 45 feet tall. And at first, he wanted to know, can you make it bigger? Can you make it bigger? Because the character is very big. And I said, well, he's going to sound pretty much the way he sounded. And then I thought about it, I saw this mock-up, and I went, no, it has to be lower. It has to be lower. It had to be deeper. Instead of all the yelling we did in G1,
Mm-hmm.
Autobot, no, it's Autobots transform. A little deeper.
Yeah.
Yeah, the amazing leap of 30 years, the technology, and we had such a great rabid fan base for G1. As you mentioned yourself, it was really, really, really good, I think, for its time, the stories and the fun. But the transition now to the Blu-ray, to the colors, the sounds, and what Michael Bay does with the pyrotechnics, obviously, and the places that you get to visit. You're so limited on that G1 screen, even though we went to Torrance, we went to Reseda, but now you're going with the Knights, the Round Table, and so many adventures, and Cybertron really looks interesting, and the technology alone makes it just the palette just goes whoa,
Vivid,
yeah,
vivid,
and and the same thing with Peter when he was saying, to get this voice for the character. Megatron has changed so much from the G1 voice, now being the size that he is, also had to sort of equal the size of Optimus Prime. So my G1 voice now began to have to transform
into more of a larger voice. I am Megatron.
But
Kind of
you-
like an iceberg trying to make its way to Nova Scotia.
right? If you notice that when Peter did his Optimus Prime, it was so much deeper, but he wasn't much louder. And if you do that voice and you move in on the microphone, if you watch him work, he can just make the ceilings drop sawdust. And he's not really screaming or yelling, he's just doing this very deep voice. And it's the same thing with Soundwave.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I was about to.
Well,
jump
I
on
do want to talk about myself, too.
the king. I call him the king.
Well,
Okay.
please.
Thank you very much. So that was very sweet. Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
But it's true in technique. And then
technique.
Soundwave, if you come up on the microphone and you do this, I remember this, and I'm telling you the story because of my first working with Michael on Soundwave. He says, okay, Frank, let's hear your Soundwave. And we're just doing it in the office on a, I don't know what you call that, but it was a little silver machine with beautiful microphones, but not a huge studio. So when you hear it bare, like,
This is Soundwave. I am here, my liege. Do not worry. I will report back, Megatron.
nothing. But if you move in on that mic,
And really relax the voice. It gets very large.
so I remember Michael saying, okay. Guys, what do you think? And they were going, because it's just a weird thing that you can do with your voice to make it translate. So you don't always have to yell and scream really loud to get those subtle emotions.
Move
he
the
knows
microphone.
he knows how to make mic work. No, he knows how to make. He knows how to work a mic.
Yeah,
Or Michael Bay too. Work him. And for like Soundwave, I'm a fan of his voice in G1, like Soundwave Superior. Like that
Yes.
robotic voice. Did you try to add that, or did you try to have a new take when you did the film?
actually, you mean the dialogue
Or just like the way
just the
his
sound?
voice sounds.
Actually, the sound that we did in G1, they used some kind of vocal cord, or not vocal cord, but what do they call those things? Cord?
Vocalizer, whatever.
Yeah, something. But they used, a mechanical technique thrown
and if you
onto
go
my
over
voice.
0.008, oh, that's a breathalyzer.
Voice quarter.
What?
Voice quarter.
Nice cool.
But combining those two, that's how we did that. But no, I think for Soundwave in the feature, it was pretty much bare, but with maybe just a little bit of extra sound thrown into it.
But still moving in
That's great.
into that microphone.
Sweet. And I got one more question. I
I'm
know
sorry,
Frank-
all the time. I'd like to tell you about Frank Welker, the early years.
Yeah, you can keep on going.
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I know you didn't get a chance to voice Megatron for all of the films, and so just being a part of it, did you get to have that feeling? Yeah, like finally I get to do this.
Well, if you've watched closely, you've watched Megatron transform throughout the years. He always finally gets his way.
Oh, there you go. that was Frank's plan all along.
Yes. The answer is yes. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, all right. Thanks a lot, guys, and
Thanks a
it's been a
lot.
pleasure.
Ours. Fine.
Thank you.
Can I like fist bump?
There you go.
Yeah.